Good evening and welcome to From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. And as I do before every show, I'd like to give honor to God, who's the head of my life, because without him, none of the things that I do in life, and as a husband, as a father, as a professional, none of those things will be possible. I'd like to welcome Mr. Will Logan to our show today. Will, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Will is a young and up and coming athletics administrator on the East Coast, and we'll get to that more. But, Will, really quickly, man, I just want to talk to you about some of the topics that we're going to cover in today's episode. Will, what does the transition from coach to AD mean to you in a sentence or so?
I feel like it was a natural transition for me. Obviously, having a lot of experience being a coach, I think a lot of those responsibilities and a lot of the things I have passion for made the easy transition to become an athletic director.
That's great. That's great. And then in athletics, as a leader, what does mentoring colleagues mean to you, Will?
Oh, I think it's huge. I think that's how a lot of us got our start. I believe in paying back those that's paved the way for us and continue to help bring up those younger administrators and coaches that are looking to try to make that transition.
Well, thanks for that, Will. These and more topics on From the AD's View. Let's get it. Welcome back to From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown, and we have with us today Mr. Will Logan, athletic administrator, AD at Community College in South Jersey. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about that. Will, where are you at? What school are you at? What athletics department are you leading? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm currently the athletic director at Camden County College. At Camden County College, we currently have 15 sports, varying from basketball, baseball, softball, wrestling, and a few other sports. We are an NJCAA Division III program. We compete in the Garden State Athletic Conference, and in the NJCAA, we are Region 19. Currently, I am from Philadelphia, born and raised. Went to Lock Haven University where I played basketball. From there, became a graduate assistant coach at Missouri Baptist University, where I received my master's. And from there, started on a 12-year stretch of being an assistant coach, head coach for basketball, with also some administrative duties, which led me to where I am now.
That's amazing. That is amazing, Will. And you and I met on LinkedIn, and I tell everybody that wants to hear it. I think that LinkedIn is God's social media page because I've met so many outstanding individuals, females, males, that have impacted my life, and I've had an opportunity to share like I'm sharing right now with up and coming athletics administrators. So I appreciate it, that, Will. And let's get into our first topic. Will, you mentioned that you've been a student athlete.
Yep.
You went from student athlete to into coaching as an assistant coach. Then you were a head coach. You were a graduate assistant, making your transition from being a student athlete into what currently is now your role as an athletics administrator. What has that journey been, right? And what does the transition from coaching to athletics administration, what has that meant to you, Will?
Well, the journey's been fun. Like I said, I've been blessed. Basketball has given me a lot of opportunities. Obviously, from being able to get a degree, then just the opportunity to travel different places, meet different people in different places. Um, between all the places that I've coached, from Missouri Baptist University to the University of Bridgeport to Rowan College, South Jersey, I've had the ability to almost coach in almost every state in the country. I've been able to recruit in almost every state in the country, build a lot of really good relationships. So that journey from, transitioning from a student athlete to a coach has been a great experience. Met a lot of great people, been able to do a lot of traveling and experience a lot of different things. And then on that way from, coaching, having those different opportunities and extra responsibilities that come with being a Division II or NAI assistant coach, which is, you're not always going to be just directly a coach. You're going to have to do game management and compliance
Absolutely.
responsibilities. So those things and working with those administrators in those different responsibilities kind of opened my eyes up to the administration world. And that was something definitely in the back of my mind as I was going through my coaching career that I knew that at some point I wanted to transition to.
Absolutely. And your journey is a lot like, many other athletics administrators, right? Where you go from being a student athlete and playing at a high level, and your passion for being in athletics and being around athletics leads you to the opportunity to become a leader of athletics, right? And multiple things. But Will, as I looked at some of your bio, right, you've been inside of athletics in many different areas, right? Can
Right.
you talk to the audience a little bit about those things? I think you've been in compliance, you've been in academic development, you've been in student success. Can you talk about some of those particular uh, entities or silos inside of athletics that has led you to being where you are right now at your institution?
Right. Yeah. So started off at Missouri Baptist, where I did some compliance work with eligibility, which opened my eyes up to really understanding, what goes on in the behind the scenes as far as getting student athletes eligible and getting them ready, and then also what it takes to continue to get them keep them eligible throughout their career. So it started it there. And then from there, that kind of transitioned to when I started to go to other colleges and become an administrator, academic liaison, and student success manager, really focusing on supporting the student athletes and making sure that not only they're staying eligible, but we're preparing our student athletes for what comes after college, and making sure that they're getting degrees where they can get internships and different job opportunities once they're done and they graduate, and then also giving them a additional network. I have a handful of former student athletes that I coach that are now currently in coaching, whether it's at the college level, the high school level, and they're having a lot of success so far. So I think all those things kind of tied into my personal passion, which is
Sure.
helping our student athletes, mentoring the student athletes, develop them into, people that are going to be leading us forward as we get older and they kind of take over and transition to those positions.
And that happens, right?
Yep.
You will be in year 25 or year 30 of your career, and you will have an individual that you coached, an individual that you mentored, an individual that was in your network that will come back and they will say, "Hey, Will, here's a situation that I have. Can you help me? Can you coach me through this situation?" Right? Whether they are at the coaching level at that time and want your mentorship because athletic administrators coach coaches,
Yep.
right? Or if they are an athletic administrator new to their institution and they just are seeking your advice, how important were the roles that you had, compliance, development, academic development, um, your student success? How important were those jobs to the career that you have right now as the boss, right? You're sitting in the chair right now. How important were those jobs to the job that you have right now?
I think in order for me to have success at what I do now, having those experience of being on the front line, so that way I can have those relationships, and also I can relate to what the coaches are dealing with on the front line, what the student athletes are dealing with on the front line. So those experiences early as the student success and dealing with some of the compliance things, I never lose sight of those things because I have an understanding of what's going on the front line. So that way, now that I'm in a position um, of power in the administration, now I can go and really figure out how we can support the student athletes and the coaches, how I could create proposals to submit to my higher ups to make sure that we are supporting and giving the student athletes the best support that we could possibly can in order for them to be successful and transition them to the next steps.
That is so important, Will. And one thing that my my current boss says, and other um, leaders that I've been under, right, had the pleasure to be under, it's about two words: student success,
Yep.
right? If the student success is at a high rate, you as a leader have success, right? If the student success is not at a higher level, then there's some challenges. There's some things that as a leader, you have to work on. I was talking to a colleague the other day, and he equated it to being in a car, right? You think when you go to a car, you're driving at 10 and 2, right?
Mhm.
But even in driving at 10 and 2, sometimes you have to turn the wheel one way, sometimes you have to turn the wheel the other way to make minor adjustments, right? That's what athletics leadership is about. That's what athletics administration is all about, is making those minor adjustments to make sure that we are trying to arrive at that student success, right? That common goal. Okay. Will, stay with us
Okay.
because we're going to come right back and pick up another topic. You are watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. We'll be right back after this break.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it?
From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Welcome back. You are watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. Before we bring our guest, our special guest, Mr. Will Logan, back on the show, I want to talk a little bit about my book. We have my book here, and it's How Black Men Overcome Racial Barriers and the Status Quo in NCAA Institutions, a Narrative Inquiry. The book was written from my dissertation, and basically the book is about how mentoring and networking can help individuals overcome any perceived or real barriers you see the QR code up in the upper right hand corner of the screen, and it will be there periodically through the rest of the show. If you'd like to get in contact with me, you can reach me at cedricmbrown.org, which is my personal page, or you can get me on LinkedIn at Cedric M. Brown, PhD, or my new email. You can reach me at from the AD's view at gmail.com. And if you like what you see on our show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Cedric M. Brown. Let's bring back our special guest, Mr. Will Logan. Will, we've talked about several topics. You being a young, up and coming athletics administrator, I liken it to when they talk about 40 under 40. I think that you are definitely in that category. And if they haven't called you 40 under 40 yet, I think that before you reach that 40-year age, that you will definitely be an administrator that is thought of in that category, because I believe that the things that you're doing are outstanding. I didn't know that you, until I read your bio, Will, that you were also at Missouri Baptist, where I taught at. I taught in Missouri at Missouri Baptist in 2018 to 19, and I believe probably maybe 9 or 10 years earlier, you were there as a graduate assistant coach for men's basketball. Dr. Smith, who recently retired, was your AD at that time. And Dr. Smith is such a wonderful individual and such a pillar in the city of St. Louis, and what he's done what he did and what he built at Missouri Baptist University is second to none. I mean, Dr. Smith is a class act. Can you speak to your experiences under Dr. Smith while you were there?
Oh yeah, Dr. Smith was great. He was the first athletic director that really kind of locked in on, leadership, servant leadership. He was very, in a good way, very anal about making sure that we're organized, we're prepared for the season. He really gave that structure that I use today from coaching, and then also into my administration, as far as being organized, paperwork, coaches handbooks, student handbooks, just being detailed, keeping files on everything. He was very, very good from an administration standpoint, and he was also easy to talk to. Obviously, his belief and his love for God was strong, and he was always somebody as a mentor that you could go and talk to on the side about different things that's going on personally. He was always willing to help. He was stern when he needed to be, but he also was passionate, and he was relatable. He never was an athletic director that felt like he was above anybody. He was a guy that was willing to do the dirty work with everybody else on the front line. So yeah, Dr. Smith was great. I'm definitely happy I had an opportunity to work for him, and he did some amazing things from even when I started all the way up to as I was leaving. They got the new facility. They started football. I mean, he took that program a long way from where it started when I first got there.
Absolutely. And, being in St. Louis with Missouri Baptist and with Lindenwood, and seeing the trajectory that Lindenwood has gone through, going from Division III, going to Division II, and now Division I, I'm hoping that the powers that be at Missouri Baptist have some type of thought process of maybe down the road one day, being a Division I program, because the facilities are up and coming right there in St. Louis, and so it's amazing. The second topic, Will, that we are going to discuss, how important is it in athletics to mentor your colleagues? You just spoke about Dr. Smith, former AD at Missouri Baptist University. You spoke about, his willingness to listen, to guide, to mentor. How important is it for you to mentor your colleagues as they're coming up through their careers?
I think it's huge. And again, I kind of go back to um, my experience and my philosophy as a coach. My job as a coach wasn't only just to coach them and prepare them for games and try to win championships, but prepare them for the next step, whether it be career, fatherhood, whatever that case may be. So I have the same philosophy going in as an administrator. Like you said earlier, as an administrator, my job is to coach and mentor our coaches. But then also, as an administrator, when there are coaches that are looking to make that transition, or young administrators that are looking to move up in the world, it's my job to give them the information, to communicate with them, give them anything that I can give. Story for me was I was coaching, and one of my friends from Philadelphia was also a college coach, and he made that transition a little bit earlier before me. He's currently the assistant AD at Princeton for diversity and equity. So when he made that, I kind of reached out to him and asked him a few questions of what he did and what he thought and how was the transition and process. And again, just him being open with me and mentoring me, he helped prepare me to get to the point where I was ready to make that transition. So again, full circle situation. I think it's important that we have the ability to seek mentorship so that way we can get better, but also give mentorship to those who are looking for that information.
That is so prevalent to what we do, right? Having someone that you can reach out to when you are in a situation that is new to you. Prior to coming onto the show, Will, we spoke about what some of your challenges may be with fundraising, right? Because as an athletics administrator, fundraising is a big part of what we do. And you were sharing that your fundraising is through facility rental and facility management, right? Um, how has um, the mentors that you've had, right? Because I'm sure when you were at Missouri Baptist or when you were, at the other institutions, that you were part of fundraising campaigns or donor events and things like that. What are you doing now in conjunction with facilities rental to help you facilitate different things like that? And how have your mentors helped you in that process?
Well, having a mentor to speak with about different fundraising options have been huge, and obviously sharing information, sharing some of the forms that they use for fundraising, putting together ideas as far as like golf outings, um, different type of 30-day drives where we try to get on the phones or we get through emails and try to get donations through there. Just getting different ideas and different processes of how to attack fundraising. Like you said, fundraising for athletic department, no matter what level it is huge. Everybody has to fundraise. It's an important part of it. Building those relationships with alumni and giving back to the community are big pieces that I've gotten from my mentors as far as trying to create fundraising opportunities with sponsors and alumni. So, just having those relationships for somebody that's already done it and getting that information and taking some of the things that they've done and then tweak it for your situation, because everybody's situation is a little bit different, has been huge.
They are. And you're watching From the AD's View with your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. You can catch us on Sundays at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We are talking to Mr. Will Logan, up and coming athletics administrator. And we're talking a little bit about his journey from coaching to athletics administration. We share some of the same spaces, and it still blows my mind, Will, that I didn't realize that you were also a Spartan, and and I taught there and everything. How was your time in St. Louis? I mean, being I'm from New York City. I grew up in the Bronx, right? You in Jersey, right? How was it being in the Midwest, growing up being an East Coast young person?
Honestly, I loved St. Louis. It was a great city. The energy was great. The pace of it was a lot different than the East Coast, which is a lot faster, a lot more aggressive. St. Louis is a lot more laid back. Everybody was friendly. There was a lot of things to do outside of work, as far as having downtime, and there were a lot of great things with the museums and the zoos that were all free because of Anheuser-Busch was paying for a lot of those things. The sports teams were great. They didn't have a basketball team, but I mean, there were enough college basketball teams in the area where you could get your fix. I enjoyed every moment of it. If an opportunity came around, I wouldn't mind going back, because St. Louis definitely was a great city to stay in for a while.
So let me ask you this: Emo's Pizza or a slice from
I knew that was
from the corner? You know what I'm saying? The slice with the yoo-hoo, or a slice with the with the canned soda. What did you think about Emo's Pizza?
I used to get in arguments all the time out there about Emo's Pizza, man. I mean, I understand it, but I'm always going to stick with my East Coast slices. Always, always.
Absolutely. Because there's nothing like going in, hey, let me get a slice. Let me get a cheese slice. And you get that bad boy, and you take that bad boy and you fold it in half, and let some of the grease drop off onto the wax paper, and you take that first bite. You know what I'm saying? And get you a straw, because on the East Coast we got to have a straw inside that Coke. You know what I mean, or whatever you're drinking. But it has been so rewarding to be able to go have our industry, whether it be playing as a student athlete. I was a student athlete at the Division I level, or being an athletics administrator right now. Like you said, it's taking you all over the country, right? And to go from the East Coast and then to go to the Midwest, and now back to where it all started for you. How rewarding is that to come full circle? Will start where you started, go where you went, learn, grow, educate yourself, get tools, and then come back, and now you're serving the community that you were part of growing up. How special is that for you?
Oh man, it's been surreal, just because when I started the journey, you just never know where you're going to land. Again, what we talked about as far as the mentorship piece, when I first got into coaching, one of the few things that some of the college coaches told me is, hey, you just never know where you're going to land. Be open to any opportunities or positions. It could be in the city. It could be in the middle of nowhere in a little hick town, and you just got to take the opportunity and make the best out of it if you're passionate about it and that's what you want. So, being able to be open to those things and take chances and take opportunities and kind of bet on myself with some of these opportunities have definitely, moved me around the country. But to be able to go through those different things and then end up back here has been huge as far as my growth and development. I think it's important. I went to St. Louis fresh out of college. That was my first job. So I had no safety net when I went out there. So I went out there on my own and was just like, hey, I just got to make it work.
But East Coast, I'll
figure it out. Yep.
you figure it out, because you've done more with less, I'm sure.
Yep. Yeah, definitely have.
And the last thing before we close, Will, I'd like to ask each one of my guests, Will, what does faith, or what does spirituality or spiritualness mean to you, man?
Oh, it's everything. I was raised on it. It's been in my life since I was a child. My mom's been huge on it. Grandmother's been huge on it. Some of the chances that I've took and the jobs that I took have been on faith, because like I said before, getting into this field, you just never know where you're going to land, where it's going to take you. So having that strength of faith, having that confidence in faith, knowing that everything is going to work out no matter what, has been, the number one thing in my life, pushing me forward in my career.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Will, if individuals would like to reach out to athletic director Will Logan, how can they connect with you? How can they contact you?
You can reach me by email. It's wlogan21@gmail.com, or through my LinkedIn, which is William Logan, MSE, on LinkedIn also.
Okay. Okay. And like I said, if those of you watching our show, listening on our podcast formats, reach out to Will Logan because he is a rising star in the world of athletics. And if you have individuals that are looking for a quality start in education, I'm a JUCO guy. They are don't believe any of the myths that you hear about JUCO. It's an opportunity for you to have your son, your daughter to go into education and be able to be comfortable as they acclimate themselves into the field of higher education. Reach out and find out more because some of the myths about community colleges, 2-year schools are absolutely bogus. So if you have an opportunity, you're on the East Coast, you're in South Jersey, and Camden Community College is somewhere where you think that your son or daughter could have an impact and continue a athletic career, reach out to Mr. Will Logan because he is a rising star, and I believe he's going to be 40 under 40 in no time. So, Will, thank you so much for being a part of From the AD's View. I thank you. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Cedric, for having me. I appreciate being on.
Absolutely. And as I do all the time, I so thank my special guest, Mr. Will Logan, for being a part of the show. And as I close, I think about my career and how I've come, kind of full circle from starting as in the NCAA in coaching, and then now coming all the way back as an administrator. I just want to let everybody know that dreams, they do come true, right? They do come true if you continue to work hard, if you continue to put forth the effort, and you roll your sleeve up, keep your head down, and find those individuals that can pour into your life and pour into your career. Seek those individuals out. And as always, I thank you for being a part. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Cedric M. Brown. Subscribe to the channel for more open and honest conversations on From the AD's View. Good night and God bless.